Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are indeed.
Welcome to NingyoBINGO's nice Sunday stream, which is, I wanted to do more Sunday streams anyway, but also we happen to have 100 subscribers now. Also, we have an intro, and I'm just forgetting it because I'm like too focused on making sure our audio isn't doubled.
A lot is happening. I am hearing us in the live stream. I think we're okay.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna try not to think about it and just try to monitor
Just
with the
be.
stuff on the side. Welcome
Yes.
to NingyoBINGO, where you keep on collecting dolls.
But never seem to win that game.
I'm Rebecca,
And I'm Lindsay.
and that's how this intro's supposed to work.
Typically. And also maybe less of me realizing that my hair has completely gone the wrong direction.
You just mirrored your. Is it wrong or is it not wrong? Because you were talking about mirroring.
No, it was wrong. I'm on the right side now.
I'm so confused. I also have a cat in my lap, and he's wiggly. He's a delight. I guess if I do that, I must pay the cat tax. Let me see.
This is true.
Let's see. Window, guest, table.
There we go. There's the baby.
A baby.
I do have to fix your video here. Okay. Just live fixing things. This is how we do it on NingyoBINGO. We don't care. We're not fancy.
No, we're not here for fancy business.
No, we're here for dolls and cats and good times. And we've been
This would
doing
be pizza sauce, just so everyone knows
Yes,
how to properly address him.
Yes, pizza sauce is his given and possibly chosen name. He started out. Oh, baby. Hey. This is the content everybody wants. It's just live cat pet cams.
Oh, 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 oh no, just adjusting.
This is what we crave. We're here for content today, I swear. It's just cats are distracting.
So Becca, what brings us together this morning?
So I was just like looking
on our YouTube, and it kind of had a nice little thing that said 100 next to followers, which is the thing where people follow you but don't necessarily like pay you, but they actually care enough to say, yes, I would like to see more content from you.
Which is really cool.
That is really cool. So I wanted to like stop for a moment and think a little bit about our history and stuff, to think about what happened before we got 100 YouTube followers. So let's see, if I go to window capture, it's all terribly broken. Perfect.
It's fine.
Live fixing everything as usual. No problems here. I swear that worked like a half a second ago. So we're like in logo inception here right now. Because this is our website, right? And it has all these things down here on this website. We didn't start even having a website not until a little later. I started hosting. At first I hosted somewhere else because it allowed me to kind of hot link. Because
Yes.
at first we were just the podcast.
I kind of miss being a podcast, frankly.
It's kind of nice, and you don't have to worry about too much about what you look like, setting up all the cameras. You have a microphone, you record it, you edit it, you hate your voice for about X amount of time as you edit it.
And then you were just like acclimate, like the fake Stockholm syndrome.
Do you have any idea when we started our podcast?
I'm really bad at times. Is it 2020?
Nope, keep going.
Wait, no, it was earlier than that.
And here we go.
It was before COVID.
Yeah.
2017?
Nope.
What?
2015.
No!
It's been 10 years, Lindsay.
No! No! I refuse this reality.
It's been 10 years since we started our podcast. That we've not done as much on the audio end, but we've started doing different things recently.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, let's check out some of these fun little
Oh no, I didn't know this was what we were going to be doing today.
Oh.
Here we go. Oh no.
I picked that and Lindsay, this is your life. I almost did your last name because of the meme.
I appreciate you not doxing me. Thanks, Becca.
You're welcome.
Yay.
So our first episode was on Doll's Party, which I think was a little bit because you had been in Japan at the time and you were describing
and I had just gone.
You were describing what it was like right there, like kind of like at that time, which has changed yet again because of all the nature of things and I'm getting tea. And how people hire people to stand in lines and things like that. They constantly have to create different systems to make sure that people are not jerks.
They have to keep randomizing it differently so that you can't game the system easily enough to make it worth doing.
Yeah, so there's that. Right now they have a web one-off thing where even global members can enter, which is kind of fun. So that's nice. I like that they're opening up some of that stuff to the global, which is great.
That's where the scalping comes from. It's not my understanding at the time was that the scalping thing was mostly coming from people outside the country who had trouble accessing stuff. So if you make it like legal, as it were, when you legalize things, you can then regulate them.
Yeah. So Wired All Satisfying, that was me adapting a thing that I made for a panel, which is kind of sort of where this all kind of started, is I made one panel for Castle Point Anime Convention.
I miss Castle Point. I haven't been there in a long time.
Castle Point now lives where Anime Next used to, Meadowlands.
Really?
The little baby con that started that bug of NingyoBINGO in my brain is now Anime Next size. Well, Anime Next.
I'm wondering if that history of that Meadowlands Center goes back even further.
Kind of
in my personal history. No, it's not this one. My first conventions was attending a small con called ShojoCon in mid New Jersey at a pair of Hiltons that sat together. But I had forgotten whether or not Meadowlands was like the same thing or not. It's not.
At least
I miss ShojoCon. It was my first con. It was tiny. We knew all the organizers because it was tiny. It was really cool.
I think Meadowlands is right. It's the one that's in like Secaucus or something. It's like New York adjacent,
yeah.
But not New York.
New York, you can throw a rock and hit New York kind of energy.
If you can throw it far enough over the water.
Yes, if you can get past the water.
And we say water here because we're from New Jersey.
From New Jersey.
Jersey blood. What else? Oh yeah, how are our relative levels? I didn't even check.
I have no wait. I'll listen to us for 2 seconds.
Yeah, it should be mostly fine. I do. It kind of looks fine-ish. I think we're both sitting just around -10. We're gonna call that okay. We're gonna call that balanced. I'm hoping.
Just don't let me get excited, I guess. I'm well aware the problem with me, and the problem that Becca's always had with audio formats with me, is my volume fluctuates a lot depending on what I'm doing.
Yes, I have a weird vocal range. Like, I have a lot of deeps, but I also have highs. I get squeaky.
Mm-hmm.
So a microphone that
I don't go pitch high. I just get very loud suddenly.
Yeah.
You can't just. I have to get crunched down so that I don't think the listeners in the podcast have as much of an experience of me going way out of range because you've crunched it down, so I'm not doing that.
So it's a lot easier when you're not doing live, where you can actually take the level and dip it down, which is some of the stuff where you lose control when you go to YouTube live format stuff. But I don't have to spend the time to edit it. Also, a lot of the things that we used to do, going back to here, we had joints, friction, and function. Still one of my favorite one of my favorite titles.
It's very good. I feel like that would still be a very good presentation to translate it into.
Absolutely, and I feel like there's like updates on how people are working with sueding and jointing and things like that, and
like
actually, you first.
And materials as well. Like when you were talking about the 3D printing space, because people are using filament printing as well as resin printing, the filament acts differently.
Yeah, and I actually just did a whole panel at ThyGeekdomCon to talk about the difficulties of that and powdering with the resin and things like that. Meanwhile, like the radial kind of lines that end up in a joint with either filament or resin printing, it kind of actually adds grip in a way. So if it didn't powder, it would almost be nice because it would add like its own friction. But
unfortunately, the use of it wears that down, is my impression here.
But there is Resion or Resi One, who makes non-powdering stuff, which I kindly was, Jesse gifted me a bottle. So, but now I'm like in indecision mode of like, okay, now I have a bottle, but what do I make with it?
Like who gets the special sauce?
Right now,
where
for 24 hours, there's prints sitting on that printer, and there's like jointed hands. I bought jointed hands from an artist. I'm really excited to see, because I shrunk them down, gave my best guess, did some math. They said it was 8 centimeters of the length of the hand, but I had a Delph hand, which is like this, right? So length is a little different, and I'm like, okay, and I need that to be that length, but also this finger I can't stretch out, and yeah. Moral of the story: if you're 3D printing by a caliper, it helps. There's other complicated things, but that's if you're 3D printing by a caliper. They have them at Harbor Freight. It's great. Sorry.
But I really enjoyed. Episode 7 is where we started getting into like trying to get into the history of the companies and things, which is I really enjoyed that a lot because that's a piece I think is still very missing in the hobby. Is how do you know what's happened when this is such a niche place that record is easily lost, because the moment a website gets changed, we lose a lot.
Yeah, and especially so, we've talked a lot about how lives has changed along the way. So at the start of this hobby and things like that, there was PhotoBucket. And PhotoBucket was a free hosting site, which now basically has your photos for ransom at this point, more or less. I paid $5 for a month or two and downloaded them all, and now I can safely be...
Now you can rest.
Yeah, because I had years of doll stuff on there. And and in conjunction with the free hosting, which was the one side of things, people made free or actually paid hosted forums like Den of Angels. Den of Angels started as a Yahoo group.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, so Den of Angels started as a Yahoo group. So a basic posting thing. If you and I are of the same mindset, we probably role-played in a few Yahoo groups back in the day.
I never role-played in Yahoo groups. I was always in live chat.
Live chat. Okay. We did Yahoo groups, and there was a different BBS format that did free hosting. So you had all these free hosting things for forums, that was one side, and then you had free hosting things for images, which is a different thing. And I don't know how the image things got money or made money or things like that at the time.
I don't think they always knew either. Part of what would happen is you'd get an investor in something that was growing, but there wasn't like a revenue stream plan.
I mean, like, when you went through and uploaded things, it, like, took some time, showed you some ads and things like that, but essentially then those were all hot linked, and eventually if you grow that too big, everybody's hot linking things, and then you can't host it. So then you had GeoCities, and on GeoCities you could make websites and things, and you could then upload your stuff to your free GeoCities website, which was a Google-based thing, I think.
I don't even know. I think GeoCities maybe got acquired eventually. I think they were their own thing for a minute.
Maybe you're right. So then you could actually upload things to there and also hot link, but then sometimes that would cause a trouble too. And this brings me to what proto NingyoBINGO was hosted on, which was I hand code the RSS feed, and all the files were originally on a Google Drive, which at that time allowed to be hot linked. And then that wasn't able to work. So
yeah,
from there, I ended up buying my own hosting space.
You're the best.
And have had that hosting space ever since. I always forget how much. I always forget. But while I'm looking at that data, here we can see we moved from small little interviews in 2017. So we've been doing this for what, 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into these interviews, which was when I went to Texas.
You're a really good interviewer, Becca. I don't know if I've directly told you that, but I've always really felt that when you did your interviewing pieces.
Thank you. I felt like for the New York City DollCon, I blabbed too much. I was talking too much. I should have let them talk more, but I was just excited, and we're all doll people, so it's like so easy. So easy.
And you've built different connections there now, so if you did anything in the future, I think you'd be able to that energy is a little less intense.
Yeah. And I mean, it's fun because you're just like searching all the we were all in reminisce mode, so we're all kind of happy, and it was fun to see what everybody, like, special memories and stories from each person, because unfortunately they were like, the bride at their own wedding, right? So they didn't get to see as much of that, but even with that, they still had key memories and points, like the little the Hawaiian Doll Club miniatures and things like that they got to throw out there. GAGUAR. I can't find it. I think I pay around 200 or something. I'll verify a later episode for every 3 months. Every 3 years. At the moment, there's a web hosting fee and a domain fee, and the two of them are the annual cost of me keeping NingyoBINGO alive, and that includes the website, Neo Angel Den, and the podcast, because all of it's hosted on the same thing, which is, it's scary. And I do have everything technically separate files before it gets uploaded, but yes.
And I assume you have backups of everything in your own personal stuff.
I should just have it in the same method archive thing.
Like downloaded and foldered and everything the way it's foldered in the file hosting.
Exactly. So I need to do that. I probably should invest in a hard drive, which would be, another annual cost. But that being said, what else do we have here? Body image, BSI, and BJD. This would be an interesting episode to re-listen to and revisit, and thinking about the whole thing that's been with Smart Doll Curvy. It's not Smart Doll Plus, because Smart Doll Plus is now Smart Doll 200%. And what did they end up? Pear. They ended up calling her Pear.
Yeah, pear. We went from adjective to numbers to fruit.
Fruit. Which, the fruit does have the same silhouette. And
well, there's that, like, slightly toxic, like, here's your body type, here's the clothes you're supposed to wear, which is, like, very prescriptive, where there's a pear-shaped body involved. Mm-hmm. And he likes to call things after food anyway, like milk, skin, chocolate.
Milk, cinnamon, tea.
And tea.
Coffee is the new skin tone now, which is very interesting. Like, so yeah, this, and like, it's sad because like there was an initial rush to get them, but you're seeing the stock sit more because there's a market for people diving into these anime style dolls, and then the subset within that market, which is, yes, I'd also want to expend my limited income on a curvy doll, and you get maybe one people with your income value. So eventually,
because they're not inexpensive, and usually branching out, it's either like a person has been waiting to purchase, and this being reflective of a certain aesthetic pushes them into the purchase, but that might be if it's the beginning of their purchasing, like that's the beginning of a hobby entry. But for other people who are longer term collectors, it's like, oh, this is something different and new, it's in my collection, I needed one. And it feels like Smart Doll, like, as much as the way he's been releasing things has made it less easy to be engaged with buying his things. Because it's hard to buy his things in a certain, like, the more interesting things are hard to access.
And his thing used to be like, you only need one Smart Doll, enjoy your doll, buy all the clothes, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And to that end, he was making lots of different sculpts and stuff, find the one you really like, enjoy it, and there was like a lot more clothes releases. Now, the clothes releases have come down slower. There's more free patterns and stuff going around. And now he's, there's been like, this month we're releasing this sculpt. This month we're releasing this sculpt. And it's not really a sculpt. It's a new face paint set of plates. And sometimes they mix and match plates to get, like, well, this is cool with this, and this is cool with this, because it all fits on the plate. And then you have, Pear Smart Doll, which is like, okay, I have one. We have 4 options for facial shape. Each of them is painted slightly different, but they all kind of, you get like a similar looking face, but with like a different expression, kind of, in a way. Like, it gives it a different attitude, which does give it a personality of a different individual, but do you really need two?
Well, it's like, it's interesting to compare him here about his what's new tactics versus, say, a Volks. Volks we're different scales. They're different companies. They're different user bases. Yeah. But with Volks, for example, one of the big things I start looking at, because right now I kind of have, like, I've reached critical mass with the big ones, is I look at their outfit releases that they do every month. I look at the accessory releases they do every month. They do a lot that is like that's like when you have something and then you start expanding your focus on the one piece, and they kind of bring you in that way, where there's like always something new coming out that is accessible but also like complements, where you're spending $30 or $40 instead of like $600.
Yeah.
And I feel like that piece is one that Danny is either not interested in pursuing, doesn't work for his business model, or isn't there. So instead, to drive the sense of new, he's doing it in this other way that's more focused on an item that customers will satiate on more easily, I feel, than like clothing accessories or other accessories.
Yeah, and the other thing is I feel like the strategy changed a bit with the change of the yen to the US dollar. So like
when the yen got like when the US dollar got stronger against the yen.
Yeah, so right then several things happened all at once. Part one, they removed the free shipping that they used to have. So it used to be like you bought a bunch of accessories all together, you hit the free shipping thing, you stuffed your doll or just all your accessories till you hit the free shipping thing, and you got it shipped to your country for free. Minus your customs and stuff. But so that happened, and then immediately after that they changed their frame to clicky frame. So like a lot of things started moving at once, and it all has been lending towards new doll, because it's now much more affordable to get a new doll, and it's not like, and if you're paying for shipping either way, people aren't as incentivized to stuff the remaining order with the rest of the clothes. So I don't know if the clothes are moving as fast as they used to, because his clothes are a higher cost point clothing. And they also have become more limited in visual scope because they're starting to become all of the kind of industrial kind of earthy color kind of things, and it used to be a lot of different things. Good morning, a kitten cat shop.
Hey,
good to see you. Well, good to see your very tiny little icon in the chat thing on the side.
It's always friendly to see the fox pop up.
Yes, which I totally can't see here because
I always end up sinking into the corner of my screen. Goodness. There we go.
I swear. I know how to podcast. Well, I know how to podcast.
We know how to podcast. That's.
I don't know how to podcast. I play at being a vodcaster in the movies.
Yes. You play it very well with confidence.
Yeah. So there's that. So that was an interesting, like, lovely conversational segue we had just from coming out of this 2017 episode about body image and BSI. Basic camera shenanigans. I should re-listen to this, and then we need to have a together day. And I have a very old Nikon gifted to me from my uncle, and I need to understand. I don't understand how.
Oh yeah, no, I will help you.
Yeah,
I can do this. I'm very well experienced at this part.
We actually had my interview with Smart Doll and Jenny Chu. It was recorded, and there was so much background noise, but it's still an amazing conversation. And
you guys had a really nice talk. I was very impressed.
Yeah, it was a capsule of time, which is very fun because to listen back to this from 2017, 8 years later now.
His business is in a different place. He's in a different place. The socioeconomic climate's different.
This was prior to Cortex 1 being released, and now we're anticipating the release of Cortex 2. So this is very interesting. But wait, is it better in vinyl? Also an adaptation of one of my panels, enabling better than it sounds. Very good. I had my professor that I met in Japan.
That was a great conversation.
Kind
with
of
Darren.
Understanding, like, because we've gone from physical sculpting of dolls now to digital sculpting of dolls and things. Of course, the recast episode, because I was tired of everybody saying you can't talk about recasts. I'm like, well, if you don't talk about recasts, how do you understand them? And how do you avoid them if you don't understand them? And how do you know the reason why to not buy them if you don't understand them? You have to understand thy enemy.
To defeat them, you must understand them. Honestly, I think the real bane of the recaster is the modern Chinese blind box doll.
It is that, and the low cost 3D printer.
Yes,
So,
between those two things, I don't have a good grasp on how bad, and also like the community has been very quick to identify the people doing it, and like to getting information on it's very easy, and you can find people to help you learn or to confirm things very easily. Like the community is very self-educated, I think, in a lot of ways.
But on the other flip side, it's gotten to the point where everybody understands there's recasts now. So when a recaster is selling, they're like, "Hi, I'm a recaster. Hi, my name is Recaster. Would you like doll?" So they're just totally honest about it. There's a eBay seller who is recast blah blah blah. That is their username, not shut down. Recast blah blah blah, and and then there's my thing, which I think I talked about here, and I'm still like a little like not sure what to do. It's like preservation of existing dolls, like Delphs with broken fingers, this and that. If you scan a doll for the purpose of preservation or restoration, and then you make that part, is that a recast? Does it not count if it's only for personal use? But
Is it the scale of what you are casting, like making a neck, like a piece that is easily broken or known to be easily broken and is otherwise unobtainable from company? If the disc for holding in the neck hook breaks and it is no longer being made, is it recasting to recreate a purely mechanical and non-aesthetic part of the doll that you purchased legally?
But if we're talking about Fairyland, they basically like that part, that neck key, I think that's like trademarked. It's like protected. But if your piece breaks or you want to use that head on a different doll and you can't buy that piece anymore, like,
then where does the trademark live?
Yeah, it's like it's interesting. And another thing that came into my mind as I was thinking about this was just like there was a brief part for the 15th, I think, anniversary of Super Dolphy Dream. There's like a red light from your microphone that's making you look so delightfully evil. You're having your Sith moment.
Aren't I always? That means my microphone is probably too close to my mouth, honestly.
Give in to the...
Hi, Sing Blue Silver.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, anyway, so from that...
We're reviewing where we've been. Welcome.
They, on this website, they made these special... Right to Repair and Various Kitten Cat Shop made the point of if reproducing parts for repair or vintage discontinuous and honest repair, I think it would fall under right to repair or fair use, maybe, which is interesting because that's almost like more what I hear for like electronics and people fighting against Apple and iPhone, like, and how that works. But for the Volks thing, they had this thing where you had a book and you got the book, and in the book you had a QR code. You scanned the QR code and it brought you to a video. The video was actually a rotational set of images of the heads for the updated FCS.
Ooh.
So that you can look at it. However, now with AI programming, someone can take specifically that. That's exactly what you do is you take a set of photos and then you input it and then you have a 3D file. So if they have those images still up, Peekaball could just rip those and then create their own Volks heads.
That's true.
So it's like, it's hard for artists to even put up anything they want to right now because in Imager, Discords even, there's AI crawling bots that are taking art. So that's interesting little modern way that recasts have changed over time. So let's see. Ghost in the Shell resin. This was we got some fun commentary on like talks about how reshelling worked and things like that. So that was this is one of my fun episodes. The eyes have it.
I love when we get to go theoretical about like, or more cultural as it were, about the hobby itself.
Yeah.
And get to reflect back on it.
In 15 years, some people might be still using that term shelling a character, but is everyone? Is it gonna just be like old thing? Like when you ask a current generation, please show me how you roll down the window or how you lower the window in a car.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like this video, and one person goes like this, and then the person of our generation goes like this.
Yep.
Like,
oh, I had a whole minute with working with some like 7 and 8-year-olds where we were talking about terms you use with the phone. And like hang up the phone.
Oh
Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Dial a number.
Oh wait.
These are all terms that don't mean anything anymore. They're just terms.
Technically, dial a number didn't even mean anything by the time we were touching phones, because dial.
Correct, because the dials were not really being used anymore.
Yeah, because by us, if you said, show me how you dial a number on a phone, we would have went like this.
With this.
But our parents' generation, or just a little, you put your finger in, you rotate the dial until the end of it, and then you release, and it actually clicks back, and it understands by how far it returns what number you put in, which was very cool.
Oh, dude. So my aunt used to work at the phone centers where she was the person who took the call and asked, who are you calling, and then connected you.
I love old audio technology so much.
There's a coworker I got to meet of hers who's been in that business since it was like really rudimentary, and getting scolded for when like there was a very specific important person, like a president or something, who was like trying to get a connection. They're like, stop talking to them for so long. Or like trying to connect them into somewhere specific. Or like it was an actor or something. It was like somebody who of like some import where it was like, oh hi, how can I help you today? Because you had to talk to a person who was then connecting you to the phone that you were trying to reach.
And it was a paid service for a lot of it, so you actually had to ask the person's name, so you had to get billing information, so at that point you knew who they were.
Oh
my god. Fascinating. Let's see.
That is the exercise in how language carries history inside of it in ways that become like untouchable almost without having more context. And our hobby is old enough to do that, to have carried over terms, or to have shorthand or slang that reflects the moment in which it was made, because it was a word that we needed a word for something, a concept, an idea we were dealing with. But every like group of people, or even in terms of time, like the issues change and how people interact or change, and like or evolve, or like the conversation evolves, so that the words might no longer be relevant because the issue they are describing no longer is relevant, and then they become depreciated, and then like the same idea comes up again, but we've lost the word, so we get a new word.
And I think you've touched on a touchstone of what we want NingyoBINGO to be. Is we want to capture, currently what we want NingyoBINGO to be, part of it is we want to capture our current understanding of events with past context and context of current history and events. And part of that is covering news-like items or introductions and things like that. And part of that doesn't seem like it pays off at the moment, because at the moment you're just like, I'm covering a news item or whatever, or this thing got released. But when we look back, right, when we look back at that Danny Chu interview pre-Cortex, it's a time capsule, and if we didn't do that, it wouldn't exist.
It's like microfiche of a newspaper.
Yes.
Where, because I don't know about you, but I feel like the places to get news or to learn about what is new are either kind of scattershot or distributed through like posts in a Discord forum, which is not particularly easy to like, it's not intentional enough to be archived exactly, or searched later.
And there is a few mediums right now, like I think there's like a little BJD zine that Kit and Kat Doll Shop showed us. Kind of, they learned about it from when they went to one of the BJD cons in Texas. And oh man, it's just yeah, it's so many thoughts at the same time. I've lost my train of thought, but like I think that's part of what we want to do going into the future, is to continue looking, recording, because even
to be the not the newscaster exactly, or the journalist exactly, but to be an archivist.
Yes,
like a very intentional archivist of like key moments, not just in the way of flat reporting, but in the more thoughtful analysis way that helps bring it into context.
Yes.
Because that's how we are as people.
We are not short-worded.
No, but like we also get more out of the analysis piece than out of just the newness. The newness is what it is. Like there's a place for that, but it's more interesting to then be able to give people the context to understand where the new thing lays in the timeline, or like the conversation around the new thing, as it were.
Yeah, and a lot of people coming into the hobby don't have the historical understanding or context of what came before to understand why or how we got to where we are now. I had the very humbling moment when I was doing the interview with the founders of New York City Doll Convention, where I was talking to the one, and they were like, yeah, I used your website all the time for the FCS stuff.
What? What? No, what?
No, hold on. And my first brain phase is denial, because it used to be Cassiel's, I think it was Cassiel's, or the original
Cassiel's?
owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the original website, and it used to have both the limiteds and the FCS on it separately. And I said, oh, well, back then, it probably wasn't the one I revived by working with the original creator and relaunching it. It was probably that one. And they said, well, at that time it was X year. And I'm like, and like the calculus things go. I'm like, yeah, no, that was me, and that was 10 years ago. Oh, okay. no, never mind. That is my fault. Okay, yes, I accept responsibility. This is me.
They were trying to compliment. They were trying very hard to compliment you, Becca.
But it wasn't my website originally.
It wasn't, but you've done something important by bringing it forward where it can be updated and like brought up to date for people.
Yeah. With that thought, brief things here, more project things.
You can see us starting to get a little more off the cuff about our topics.
Yeah, we start to do NingyoBINGO bits, and
or we're just kind of like hitting bits of things that are coming up and are like in front of us.
Yeah, and
with occasionally doing something important,
like this one where we hit Black Dolls Matter.
Is that our last one?
It is, which it was a very powerful episode of it, so that's fine.
I'm really okay with that currently standing where it is. I would like to do more podcasts because I think there's a specific thing we can do in that format that is not as available to us in the live format.
Right. Definitely.
Where we can be like really targeted and like a listening experience where you can sit and like learn something. Where in live, like, because it is interactive, this is not a negative, it's just a different. There's like Kit and Kat shops in the chat where we can be talking back and forth with them, or we can be taking people's reactions into account, or they get a little bit of the rambling that we do normally with each other.
Right.
Which is like has its own Kit and Kat shop saying, yes, we're a podcast. I know that's a lot of work for you.
And
I'm happy to start learning.
So,
yeah. But like that format of being able to sit down and like listen to a slightly more curated version of information, and like I think it might be nice, especially with this new, with where the hobby's at right now, to start being able to like more intentionally be like, let's put this in context, let's explore this topic, might be nice. I know part of this is that editing a podcast audio takes a lot of effort and time.
Yeah, not as much as editing a video for things. So like Shizu-san, and My Lady Disdain, they do a lot of live. They occasionally do not live, but they both understand that when they do not live, it takes X amount of video, especially to do it if you're doing like montagey things, etc., more than just... I recorded two doll openings. They're not posted yet. Why? Because editing video and putting it into context and presenting
it's hard.
Takes time. It takes time. It just takes time because you have to watch everything over again. But yeah, let's do an audio podcast soon.
Yeah.
We can put together some notes. We can make a Google folder presentation thing.
You know what? It might be good to have talking aloud on to the internet. We really should probably have a Google document that is just like organized of like topic ideas, but not just topic ideas, but like the errata of them, so we just have it prepared to go.
Yeah, and maybe once one of the buckets gets full enough, then episode.
Then we can do an episode on it, or something really, something that lets it be easier for us to go from, something interesting is to go from the urge of like, oh no, Lindsay's finally free to do a fucking podcast episode, so we can immediately grab something.
Yeah,
that's part of the problem. Is I'm a fairly astonishingly busy person.
So we'll transition the chat then to next topic. Chat was mentioning...
First of all, did you just see Sing Blue Silver shouting out Shizu-san?
Yeah, Shizu.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that is really fun. And I went in there and blabbed on about dolls as long as resin dolls as long as I could on that episode. One of my favorite episodes that I collabed with that was it was an end of year retrospective thing, and we talked about favorite characters and OCs and things like that, and it was so fun. King Cat Shop also does videos, opening videos, how-to videos, etc. 3 videos, number 4 in the can. Editing is tough. It is. That being said, the box opening video for the green smart doll, the opening of that, beautiful editing. Love it. I appreciated it. It warmed. It warmed my warm heart. I don't have a cold heart.
I was about to say, what are we warming up? You fine?
Yeah, no, I'm thirsty.
You ain't in Alaska.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Okay, so.
But I think that to bring up the point of like the connections that you have really been instrumental in making, like part of this like shift in format also reflects you connecting more with other like people who put themselves in front of cameras to talk about hobby people.
Yeah, so a lot of what's been happening with this is, as the years have gone on, there's been other people people have been moving from the audio space, and really there was like one other person in the audio space. You can find them if you search on YouTube. I'm in iTunes. And a lot of people started being able to more easily with things like OBS, etc., do these video formats and do them live, as YouTube Live came to be, as Twitch evolved and things like that and came into be. So like with that, I met all these people, and by me meeting all these people, I then started working on things, and then ThyGeekdomCon happened, and then I started collaborating, and then what's been happening is a lot of NingyoBINGO contemporarily has been outreach to physical spaces within the Northeast. So, ThyGeekdomCon, ZenkaiCon, I tried a few other smaller conventions that were a little, there was one in Atlantic City, I don't remember the name of it, and that probably tells a lot.
Mm.
Yeah. It was interesting. I bought a way too expensive drink from like a candy alcohol drink store. I remember more of that than everything. It was like at the Showboat. It was. And as I go through the years, I'm now, as I go to conventions, I used to always just cosplay. I would cosplay, and I would help my sister with their thing. But now I sit there and I go, but is this a cosplay convention, or is this a Becca Does Doll Outreach convention? And it has a different vibe. Right now I have 3 panels pending. One with his co-hosted with Shizu-san. Hey, I've always wanted to do a panel together. So with Otakon, which is great. And Otakon had its due to Batman Jackson having a whole meetup, which was great, and that seems like it's going to continue this year. And I now have to see. My panels were accepted, but now I have to see if it's accepted scheduled or accepted waitlisted, and they don't tell you till later, which is annoying. But this is what I've been spending my time on, rather than making episodes and podcasts and things like that. And the entire outreach and everything for ThyGeekdomCon, which we'll hit in a moment, that's been a lot of the effort and a bit of the budget, actually, for NingyoBINGO.
I mean, it's not a small thing that we do at ThyGeekdom.
It actually...
And by we, I mean I help you do, along with some lovely folks help you do, but you're really the one who leads the day there.
Sing Blue Star said they went to a BJCon about 3 weeks ago. That's awesome.
Ooh, if you don't mind sharing, as long as you feel comfortable, would love to know which one you were visiting.
I know there was one in the UK, and I think Kit and Kat just went to one this weekend or the last weekend. There's been so many things going on. They went to one I think the weekend immediately after ThyGeekdom. But I swear I was going to go off this topic. So this is our website. Behold.
It's very orange.
Yeah, it is very I forget what they call this. Tangerine,
I think. It's a fruit of some kind.
Yeah, it's an orange that was unable to be replicated for a sports team.
For printing. Because we didn't choose it off of Pantone swatch. We just kind of did a
you
RGB thing.
You are responsible for
I should have chosen a proper swatch. I might want to update this to a proper printable swatch for your sanity.
I don't mind it. It's a very unique color and it's not seen often.
I know, but I am sure there's a Pantone swatch that is this very close to this orange. Right, I will have to go looking into this.
I did a little, and I mean, like, you can kind of pick it, and you can get the hex code, and then from there you can figure out what Pantone matches.
I should have designed it in CMYK.
Oh my god,
that's what I should.
Forgive yourself. You did this a decade ago. Ago.
You care about the audio thing very deeply. I do as well. I just don't have the skills to. The same skills you do, but when it comes to the design element, I know I was bad, and I don't like it.
Oh my god. Alright.
So UKBJDCon was the one where Sing Blue Silver went.
Yeah.
Oh, we must be at a great time of day for you. Thank you for coming out across the 6 hours.
So, several things need to be updated on this website. Neo Angel Den was last updated in 2023. So that's coming up because I'm working on it. This is a look of like all the cells and all the numbers and how I sort it all the things in red are things that need to be updated yet. They ruined my spreadsheet because now there's a head 7 and also an F special 7. Why would they do this to me personally?
I know. Why are they attacking you directly?
Directly. So that's one thing that needs to happen for the website. another thing which might not be so obvious is that the entire website was built, as we mentioned, circa 2017. When was the time I launched it? I should have it here in my... Yes. It's actually right here. No joking, the grand opening of Neo Angel Den. So that's when I relaunched Neo Angel Den, is April 1st of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of pre the big push from HTTP to HTTPS.
Mm-hmm.
That is a security S protocol, which means every time somebody opens my site and it has the HTTP rather than HTTPS, it, on certain web browsers and things like that, it pings it as a potential virus threat or security threat. So coming up, please don't be scared when this site goes up and down or whatever as I go through all this, and if there's things broken, please email me.
Would you be interested in helping bring this into a database-based calling format that might be easier to update might be easier for you to input the data for?
Maybe.
Because I think doing that not only would bring you in alignment with like modern like general best practices, but might make your life easier.
Very true. There's a part of this website that I do love. I do love that I have the history of the revision changes here, just like a work instruction. Or
well, you can still maintain that as with updating, which like people like to know when things update.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel being aware of how your back end looks, I think it's part of why it's hard to update is that it is not a streamlined. It's like databases are easier to update more fluidly. So it might be, not to give either of us homework, but it might be worth putting in that initial effort so that moving forward it is easier.
Yeah, at least at first, what I'm going to do is we're going to update, get all the current rev heads up in here. Because we're only up to 113. Several things got discontinued, including the F-26, which are officially there. There's more discontinuations coming in. But then it's every single page. And to give you an idea, each sculpt has at least one page. Needs to have the links in that HTML PHP file changed from HTTP to HTTPS.
HTTPS. I understand.
So it's a thing. If I could automate it, I would, but I'd be scared I'd be breaking too many things also. But we'll
that's the nice thing about a database is you can do like logic calls and then do like spreadsheet-esque like find replaces and stuff.
And I know I'm smart enough to learn something new. I was so
You have
proud.
new things you're working on right now.
I was so proud of me figuring out finally, like with this last update, I figured out how to get these to tile correctly. Like, let's see. Yeah. Changing to a CSS grid for better display. That was my accomplishment in 2023. Because I was beating my head against the wall about that for 3 years, how to fix it. And I finally figured it out. Sad things. So yeah, there's updates coming to the site. Please don't be scared if things go down. It's not dying. I won't let it die as long as I'm fiscally able to not let it die. Speaking of fiscal fun, that doesn't match with the tone of what I just said, but this is
it looks very strange out of context. I have to be honest about it.
Absolutely bizarre out of context. Okay, this is the start of the album for our excursion to ThyGeekdomCon.
Do you want to give an overview of what we do there?
Okay.
It's a whole thing.
ThyGeekdomCon started with me and kind of Shizu-san basically I was walking out of Too Many Games, and Chris, the organizer, was just sitting there going, "Hi, in X month from now, 2 or 3 months from now, we're having another convention right here in the same convention center. Do you want to come?" And I sat there and I went, "Well, A, yes, I want to come because it's a 20-minute drive from my house. But B, do you guys need programming? Because I like doing panels." He was like, "Hell yeah." Ba ba ba. So, in those very early years, we didn't take up much of the convention center, ThyGeekdomCon, and as my cat walks really close to power buttons, hello, buddy. Directly in front of the camera. Perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. Good boy. At first I did a Nier Automata panel. Shizu-san did the doll panel. The next year I swapped and I did the doll panel. And because we were doing a lot of smaller conventions. CPAC. There's a different one like near the Rutgers University. There's like one that's done at a university in New Jersey. That's a small Kogaracon, I think it is.
Oh goodness, I haven't even heard that one.
That was actually where Shizu-san and I first met. Because he was.
Oh.
Yeah. I was sitting there with my Ningyo
Their
Bingo
art for their thing is cute. Their art's cute. Someone knew what they were doing their logo.
for Kogaracon.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll load it up.
Oh, it's the one that's at Middlesex College. I know the one you're talking about now. I've been there before. I've been there once with you.
Probably, yeah. And we probably got.
I think I was there with you.
Dim sum afterwards. Yeah.
I don't remember the dim sum part.
It was the first time I ever had dim sum. Was also at Kogaracon.
Oh, that's cute.
So yeah, this is Kogaracon. Lovely tiny convention, just a one-day convention. There's a beauty in a one-day convention.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's local.
Simplicity.
It comes and it goes. It's ethereal. You go back to your life. You don't have to like drive terribly far. You don't have as huge a pack in. But anyway, so we met there, and it was him doing a doll panel, and he's like, and Tanscan da 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 da, and I reached into my NingyoBINGO notebook that I had brought with me because I think I was working on the notes for an episode or something, and I flipped through and I'm like, actually the first tan doll was this one. Because I just had copious notes from all of our podcast episodes. I had my source material.
You did?
It's hard to argue down a woman with a notebook.
Oh, I know. Who speaks with confidence and can cite you.
So anyway, ThyGeekdomCon, we were doing panels back and forth, and eventually we were talking with the con organizer, and they were like, would you like to do, like, I'm like, it would be cool. I have this dream, because I went to, we were talking about the interviews I did in Texas, and like, A-Con has Doll A-Con, or did. And I would love to have a thing like that. I would love to have a sub-doll programming block. And that was the original idea. But the convention center doesn't lead itself well towards having an isolated space for dolls. And you can do a few programming pieces and everything like that, but the panel areas are not isolated because they simply have curtains in between them, so sound bleeds through. It's hard to do things like a workshop or anything like that. There's only a few enclosed rooms. Those are ops, manga library, etc. So through the 3 years we've done this, it's now evolved into a display and outreach. And this year I was very proud because we organized it into a very informative one where it kind of explained the different formats of the dolls, and it had like eye catches in the front, which we'll show shortly, of like how fandom can interact with the doll fandom, because ThyGeekdomCon is a general geekery convention. Star Wars, Star Trek, Lego, Oh my god, they had over 30, 40 itasha. And
It was so
wasn't even,
cool.
and it
I
wasn't
love
just,
how they're just there on the floor. You can just walk up to a car.
and it wasn't even just itasha. It was like,
No.
it evolved from itasha to,
For those who don't know what itasha are, it is when you have a car and you cover it with the big flashy stuff.
yes.
Usually anime-esque. And it's like really big and bright and like
It's
painfully.
It's like
painful.
it's like an Ita bag but car.
Yes, Ita bag, but Ita Sha being car.
Sha.
Yes.
Like then Sha, yeah. Or Rikasha. So
Rickshaw.
Rickshaw. That's the one I was trying to say. Yeah. I goof on vocabulary all the time.
Me too. I'm just often know the vocabulary you're goofing. But you can get me back. Trust me. I have plenty that I fuck up.
So, and it's cool because not all of them were Itasha. Some of them were just muscle cars, fancy car, fast car. So like half of the con, no, a third of the con was car con, honestly, which was really cool. But it's like, it's kind of nice that it's a local con and it's so multicultural. But because of that, we wanted to create an outreach of things that would relate to people in geeky dorky fandoms. So a lot of the things up front were video game, comic book, K-pop things, and then the license tie-in stuff too, which we'll show in a second. But our adventure with ThyGeekdomCon actually started earlier that day, the previous day, the setup day, where when tempted to put a kimono the previous day on my smart doll, but my Megu is currently using my one kind of pillow fit thing for the around the waist. I'm sure there's a word for it in Japanese. So what?
Because you use that for people too to help make the shape.
The trunk become as tree. So this is a sock, a tabby sock, in fact, with a single rubber band around it.
At least you're using a thematic item.
Yeah. So, oops, I'm clicking here. I need to click the arrow over here. So from here, we actually went, Kit and Kat Doll Shop, Corey, Anna, and I went to Shofuso, a Japanese garden in Philly adjacent. It's at the Philadelphia Horticultural Center. These are big words for the morning.
The Philadelphia Horticultural Center, Shofuso House.
Yes, and we were able to take these amazing photos, and we would help like each other with like a little light or hold the doll or things like that. And we kind of gave each other tips. Yeah, it was rainy, and later I was fighting of the scale of having rain on the dolls' faces. And that was drying and leaving dry marks or things like that, or the way the rain or wet would cling to the hair didn't look in scale. But we were able to take absolutely amazing, wonderful photos, and everybody there was nice and pleasant. There was lovely koi in the pond. We talked with the caretakers and...
oh, that's the best part. The people who care for that place care very deeply about it.
Yeah.
It's a actual Japanese scholar's house from Japan that was taken apart and moved to the grounds where it is now. So, like, it was like piece by piece rebuilt. And me and Becca, when we were in college together, there's a big cleanup volunteer event that you can join, where you just go in and scrub the whole thing top to bottom and clear out the entire gardens and renew all of the things that need renewing. And it's one of my favorite activities because you get to just clamber all over the house while really feeling a part of it while taking care of it, which is really, really fun.
Yeah. It's super fun, and it's also where I learned about rain chains, which was great. Before they were popular. This is an example of a kitchen and like kind of like a wet room area for the house. The house is interesting because it's kind of a mix of vibes of high to low culture, but it's kind of cool because it works as a nice teaching tool in that way. So I definitely highly recommend it. Going there. There we go. That's the shot we actually wanted. Um, Smart dolls are great for posing and stuff outside rather than the resin dolls because the internal frame makes it a lot easier. The clicky clicky new frame, I don't know what generation it's clicky clicky. I call it the clicky clicky frame. Haptic frame is even better. Mine was pre that, but she did pretty great. We got nice, because it was rainy, we got nice soft light, diffused light throughout our photos, which was very fun. There's an example of a rain chain, which I took several photos of because I enjoyed it. And there we get, I believe that's cat. I mix up which one's kitten and which one's cat.
We need a shortcut.
I think.
I need a mnemonic, kitten cat. Oh yeah, you're correct. Speaking of kitten cat, you're correct. I was there when they were doing the screens turnover, and they were donated by that artist to the location as part of like supporting Shofuso, as it's a very important, like, Philadelphia area and New Jersey and New York, like this whole tri-state area in general, has a very large population of people from everywhere, but there is a fairly significant Japanese population, as like people from Japan also. And Shofuso is part of a overall community outreach, cultural exchange like thing. So people treat it very kindly.
Sorry, I left one photo in there of a human. I tried to purge them all. Confirmed cat. That is cat. I forgot this was there, and I feel like it's a magical thing. There's like a little windy path that winds out of your view, and then you get to approach this Buddha, which is great. So the koi, we did discover which the caretakers informed us which ones they thought would win a fight. 'Cause that's, yeah.
Those koi are well cared for.
And here's where I start to fight the rain on the face of the doll.
Mm-hmm.
Things are... This is all straight from iPhoto, so it's trying to load it in. But eventually I tried to take a picture and without a tripod, right? And then just move it and take a picture again, and hoping that I could put one on top of the other, make the background sharp, just to kind of create a little bit more of a surreal painting-like aspect. Here you can see the water on the faces. I'm sorry, Anna, Corey. I tried to pick out all the things we had an extra 16 minutes of setup this morning, and part of it was that, and part of it's because yesterday I was at the Final Fantasy.
Oh, you were at the release?
Pre-release for Magic the Gathering, because y'all giving me a cloud deck, and I wanted to try the pre-release, and everybody's like, well, that's the perfect place for people to be. So Kitten Cat says, I have the hiragana, but the romanji keeps changing. Perhaps supposed to be the moon. Perhaps you guys can help with the final syllable. Yep.
It should be ski. It's K-I. I can just tell you. If you went into K, ske is a different word. Ske is the ske and ske mono or pickle.
Also a good word.
I mean, a good word.
Delicious word.
There's words where ske is like part of the larger word, like cat ske. Like there's words that use it that isn't pickle. But ski is definitely what you actually want.
Yeah. You could see a lot of the images where the water was just on the face, but...
Oh, that's a beautiful shot there with the changing leaves.
Yeah. Okay, now we get into...
So that was the pregame.
That was the pregame.
Y'all be pregaming.
And then we zoom over to the convention center to set up. Step one is that I, in my ADHD brain format, forgot to eat, so they saved my life in the format of 2 tiny jellies in the little cuppy cups.
Oh, the little jello. They're not actually jello shots, what they feel like.
They really do. Honestly, you could probably pour some a little saucy sauce on top of that and drink it down in probably go down just fine. But I hit the Wawa across from the convention center and then started actually functioning again. I grabbed something very fast to eat, one of the snacky wraps, thank God. You'll notice here that this is an image, but it's all in reverse because it was easier to do this from my notebook, my handy-dandy notebook, than to actually sit there and in my brain reverse everything every time I wanted something different. So here is the original, and then at the convention I took the image and then reversed it because we reversed it for flow.
I really like the layout this year. I think it worked out very nicely.
Yeah, so if you unreverse it, what it says is flat surface for us volunteers, custom fandom, licensed fandom, photo space, anime non-license, and resin dolls. This is what it looked like as we were starting, and we had the unfortunate problem of being directly in front of the bay doors that opened every day, so we didn't want to set up the tall dolls until the
oh my god. And when they would rise and the wind would come and knock everything over,
including the backdrops.
Oh, they turned into sails. It made me realize I never quite fully conceived. If you're at a sporting event or something outside and they have the big banners, but all the banners have those like half of a hole cut out of them, like all over.
Yeah.
You now realize why. So it doesn't turn into a fucking sail and the wind can go through.
Yeah. Yeah, I also just showed another human picture, unfortunately, but like, yeah, Anna was there helping Anna, Corey, myself, Jesse. After a little bit, we all put everything together that day. Got the linens and the tables down so that the next day it would be down to filling those out, and the backdrops we put down. We had Naomi dressing, aka Strength, dressing up as 2B with my old outfit. And here we are getting through our setup and everything, starting to be together.
What was great about what the layout did for us this year is that we had like a, hey, look at these cool things section that catches attention. And then there was an opening where you could talk to a human being, which was often me this weekend, and like inquire about like what this is or about the raffle that we had running, things like that. The raffle does a lot of things that I can get into later. But then we had this open space that could be a meeting place or like a step aside place where you could just sort of like have a conversation, which was really cool.
I have no idea why this thing is showing an exclamation mark on the top of it, but it's okay. It's enough for everybody to get an idea. I did a few videos throughout the weekend, but yeah, here is our actual setup. And you keep photobombing. This is your fault, not mine.
What do you mean? I don't mind being on these. People are seeing my face anyway. I'm right here.
True.
What happens is I notice you're doing something and I go, huh? What's going on?
And we can see Kat again hamming it up on the camera.
I don't want people knowing that my face is here already.
So
there's a reason why I was like, I'll be the person who's like the friendly shopkeep. I'll be our friendly shopkeep today. So I like doing that. So
Anna made this amazing diorama that a lot of the blind box scale dolls fit right.
People loved it.
Into, and it was very fun, super duper duper fun. Then there we go, photobombing again. Picture of the raffle for Saturday, which included a tiny fox figure, which came out a little later.
Do I have her? No, she's upstairs because I also own that one.
This backdrop that Kit and Kat shop, my Jesse and myself all worked on. The photo ring light, which I bought at like a thrift store. Good enough. Right. and we start to get people. We actually had a doll meet occur at the booth within the one part of the U. And they all got to set up their entire dolls up there. And somebody brought almost, I swear, near to their whole like collection, which is insane. Oh, absolutely insane.
It was so much fun having them.
Lindsay, you got a compliment.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Hey. Oh, thank you. I genuinely enjoy doing that job. That's where I have fun. And then when I'm really tired, I'm still being stimulated awake because there's people talking to me.
About stuff you care about.
I will talk to anyone about anything if I must, but I really enjoy the process of taking a shy person and letting them feel safe to be excited.
Yes.
Which can be hard. So, and it dovetails into things I do for my profession. So I really liked having a job. I had a job. I was a dog with a job.
Yeah, nothing's quite so happy like a dog with a job sometimes.
Exactly. I'm like a golden retriever sometimes. I just like having a job.
So that was all the meet up people's dolls, and I don't think that's actually even all of them. Like, there was so many.
No, and they were all gorgeous, as they always are.
Here's two
I have not yet
F-26s.
It's so funny that they're both there.
Yeah, so the one I gave away to Shizu-san's daughter last year, and I remember her name. Anyway, it's fine. And it was just fun to have both of them there side by side because they have same but different vibes. And I feel good that I painted her, whose now name is Massacre, and she looks so delightful. My F-26, his name is Elizabeth. Beth for short, do not call her Liz. So more pictures of the setup. I tried to capture everything just so we'd have a nice memory of it. By the time it was Sunday, we kind of had like a little round discussion. Massacre. Yeah, Massacre is the name of the F-26. Did I say something different? I probably did because my brain is like dual channeling right now. I'm crossing streams. So here we get into Corey and Anna's customs.
That's Kitten Kat for those who are uninitiated.
And like it's delightful and
the people behind Kitten Kat.
Yes. Kitten Kat's owners or vice versa if Kitten Kat owned Anna and Corey. I mean, like
I feel like Kitten Kat are in charge. Anna and Corey support them.
That makes sense.
That little diorama was also very popular with people because it hits on that like little guy thing.
Yeah, and it was okay. So we had our exhibition, but then there was also somewhat nearby a vendor, which I did take a picture of the name of, which we'll get to soon. And so we would send people to them, and then they would send people to us. Corey, in fact, at one point grabbed people from our booth and said, "I'll walk you there," and just walk them over to the vendor.
It was the best, serendipitous situation that there happened to be a dealer deals in blind boxes, but had expanded into the Chinese make blind boxes, BJDs, where you get like a whole little guy, like I have a million on my desk. You get a whole little guy.
Yeah. So like
for just like $40, which is pretty good in this hobby anyway.
Yeah.
And then
completed concept.
And the best part for me is that we would be like, people are like, I'm really interested in this. And we're like, hey, if you want to get started or test it out with something small and low value, but you got like a whole thing, go over to this person. They're over there somewhere and enjoy yourself. But then people would come back with the box and open it at the table. So I got to have vicarious blind box opening.
Yes, and then they would play with it at the diorama. It was like
correct
a full thing.
For a better cycle.
No, it was great.
God damn, that was really cool.
So another cool thing we had this year, we put little blurbs on like note cards last year, but here we put a little bit more information on, and I was me, so mine was like historical context, because I wanted it, my concept was like almost a little museum like this year, to kind of bring people into the hobby, or even have people that are in the hobby like learn a little bit more about pieces that maybe predated them or things like that. The icon, which is the merging between the Dolphy Dream and the, I would say, SD16 aesthetics. I kept forgetting batteries for my dolls so they could light up, but it is what it is. There we go. Takken's Mini Mart. So look these guys up. They were very nice, and they have.
The lady at the booth was very delightful. She came over, and like we had a dialogue with her as things, because we found out about her partially because we had walked around and noticed it, but she came by our booth because she's also interested in the hobby. It was like, what is this? So it was very, very wholesome in that way of like, she genuinely has an interest in the hobby. We were able to send people her way to like share in the hobby in a fiscally responsible way. And she was very kind.
I think at the end, maybe I didn't put in one last video, but yeah, that was it for that. And for, let's see if I can do something. Booped me. Is it boop I have to worry about?
An important boop?
I don't know.
Is this a mission critical boop?
I don't know.
I don't think so. The stream is still fine.
Okay, very good. So all said and done, I'm surprised I don't have one final video. I thought I did one final walkthrough video, but that's fine. When I added everything together, including we printed and sanded, strung, semi-finished.
Oh yeah.
6 dolls that were
I helped.
Yeah, Aelith Arts dolls that I'm a Patreon of. If we don't include the resin and alcohol for printing all the dolls, the total, like from this
man hours,
one person, cost of that convention, of new items purchased and things like that, $379.54. So about $380, because it makes me happy. I bought a doll worth of experience to display everybody because it makes me happy, including the resin. $570.
And
And
you got how many out of that?
How many?
We made how many things, Becca?
6 full dolls. So yeah. So economically, like I think you can cheat here and use the top here for math. 571.89 minus 379.54 is 192.35. Then 192.35 divided by 6 equals about $32 a doll, roughly. Oh look, the math just pops down. That's like kind of convenient. I didn't realize it was doing that. Perfect. Optimal.
Sometimes Google remembers to be good.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to show on the stream, but fun fact.
It dropped down just right.
Yeah, fun fact, you can use Google's or most user bars on the top of URL bars to just type in math. It's very convenient. And I like typing in math like that, just like the old graphing calculators, because then you can see it and you can see your formula, so you can see if you made a mistake as you're drafting your formula. So that is part of what NingyoBINGO does now, is outreach. And outreach is this budget, and this is my yearly kind of outreach budget. And that's what I do. That's what we do. Because at first it was, I'm going to have an outreach table that try to start a doll con, like a doll con within a con. Then it was, I invited Shiza, so I'm like, hey, you're local, you want to come? And I think I talked to you, Lindsay, and you're like, yeah, I'm game. And then I had my sister for like eyeballs and Jesse for eyeballs. And then year one we had it then grew, and I'm very happy that Anna and Corey ended up there, and we also had My Lady Stain there. My Lady Stain wasn't able to come the second or third current year. Yeah, so what started out, and we did like a little round table after year one. What we started out and thought would be one thing has now become an outreach display education thing, which is very cool, and perhaps that's more my vibe anyway. Because right now, same weekend, granted all the way up in Canada, you have Anime North and Doll North, and now we have the doll people for that made New York City Doll Convention, and they're taking care of creating a doll con for BJD anime dolls on the East Coast. So maybe I don't need to occupy that space anymore. I can create programming for the other pieces or help support, but I don't need to do that. I can be history or other things. I can fall into where I fall into, which is outreach and history, which is nice for me. Final
outreach and history is really is like a fun place to live in.
Final view of photos for this stream. We were just looking at Pookie size versus the blind box size.
Wait, mine. Me too. Hold on.
She's so cute.
She's one of my favorites in that set.
30-minute sister size, because I ended up getting this kit there.
I didn't know there were 30-minute sister kits around, or else I would have gone over there and probably spent money.
Literally on the other side of the black curtain.
Are you kidding me? No.
And they had that place was very cool because they also had like vintage garage kits and stuff.
I'm a fool. I never went there.
Vintage stuff that was so cool. Like Tank Cats. Oh my god, really old stuff that was really cool. Orion ended up with the 2B wig after I repacked everything. It looks good on him. There's the new legs on the 30-minute sisters. They're basically just dolls. Let's be real. Especially at the point where you're taking off once you take off all the mech stuff and they're like, here's the optional parts just to make it a doll. It's like, if it wasn't a doll before, it certainly is now.
But it's fine because technically it's mecha built.
Right, so you're not owning a doll. So here's like a size comparison.
No, there's a whole thing there.
30-minute sisters, the Logan doll kits. Did you buy one yet?
No.
Why not? Enabling.
I know, I'm very tempted. I need to see where my budget is since I will be doing some traveling later.
Okay, I'll haze you more later.
Perfect.
Here is
indeed
Pookie outfit on a 30-minute sister, in case anybody was wondering what that would look like. Which is not too bad. Evidence of attempts at making eyeballs in the background. Thankfully, we learned that there's stands that work pretty well for holding these dolls. So that they're all standing up now rather than just falling over. And these are shoe boxes that I got from Costco, which work really great. Yeah, it does have like little mold lines and things here, but at least you can see it. The light passes through. They're kind of portable and things like that. So I'm happy I get to actually see and display my dolls. I love to see and display my dolls. That is my reward for cleaning up my room and making everything nice and wonderful and not just a pile of everything after the convention, which is to say that is the potion recipe alcoholic drink from the Final Fantasy XIV cookbook, which I bought, and I specifically bought IKEA vases from IKEA.
Oh, is that what that is? It's the perfect shape.
So that Jessie could every once in a while occasionally make me a drink.
That's really, oh, that's so good of him.
Levels of dork, right? Like, here's, right here, you might look through and see a big old dork. Attempts at eye making are things I've been working on recently.
Mm-hmm.
And here we get, so this is a base that's made in a silicone mold, then plasticine sort of sculpting material, sculpty for the color, black, acrylic, and then the, as my cat calls in the, yes sir, are you sure? Okay.
It was important news.
Yeah, he had to know where I was. And then you put the resin over the top. At first I tried just using the 3D printer resin that I had, but there's this hard resin, UV resin, that they recommend, and it sits higher and it's thicker and it works nicer for creating a dome on the eyes. So I do recommend using that if you're going to be trying to make your own eyes. So yeah, I now have 2 FCS dolls, and I absolutely need to make yeah, cat the emotes in the chat. Thank you. And I absolutely need to make video to kind of upload those, or we could just live react to the video or something. I don't know.
I liked your experiments with making fishnets.
So this was actually part of the brown body part kit, and it just has fishnets. I bought a separate kit that was the flesh tone kit because I wanted it to have that option.
Yeah.
And they actually come with 2 sets pre-done, and you just snip the top, put the leg on, and then put the leg on. And this dress...
That's really cool!
This dress is not a Pookie dress. That is a Kelly/Shelly Barbie dress. And you can tell by the bulk of the Velcro in the back. Yeah, Kelly was marketed as Kelly here, Shelly the rest of the world. Smaller baby sister of Barbie. And just, I've had a pleasant day just looking at the status of the collection, all sitting there as I was working on some other things. And Orion stole the silicone eyes that I tried to put in Elizabeth, but they didn't work. And the current status of our, her name ended up being Olivia. Fashionista, Garu Extreme. It was funny because they each came with the opposite wig. So the honey blonde versus the kind of bleach blonde. And I was looking, I'm like, it's not quite right. And then I just swapped it. And it's interesting because the wig that came with the SD16, which was the US order, has a fake scalp. But the one that came with the Japanese order does not have the fake scalp and just has everything pulled into the top piece. So I'm like interested if what quality things go which way. Is it because it's SD16 and do you boost that quality when you do the... I don't know how.
Or is it like the wig type in specific and like specifically that wig, the way it's made?
Maybe.
Because they're different wigs.
They're both very similar styles though. So that's about it on the doll things. I was trying to take guesses as to what doll this one is going to be cosplaying. My guess was the Major from, what do you call it?
Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah, but it doesn't quite fit.
Well, she's had a lot of outfits. Like, a lot. There's been many, many versions, but there's a common theme in the way the triangle shapes are at the hips.
Yeah.
And the way the layering works with the shrug feeling on the jacket.
So that's
where I still think that could be Major, frankly.
It could. The other thing that came to me a little later was maybe like Faye Valentine from Bebop.
Oh, you're right though. Because they did Spike.
But Danny specifically said he's not chasing any more license agreements. So, but because he's been doing mainly these just as like fun projects for himself. Like, you know, cosplay dolls. It's fun to have your dolls cosplay rather than you. And then some fun big news pending. So talking about other conventions,
I bet
people doing things.
my guess is that the news is a new venue.
Yes. So they actually did say it was. Oh my God, what's they hinted at it. It's called Industrial City. I'll just see. I think it's called Industrial City, NIC. Yeah, Industry City. Industry City. So there's this whole very cool venue that they were hinting at because they kept retweeting things by this place. And it's both a working
Is that
area.
on the High Line? Is that the High Line?
I don't know enough about New York City to know the answer to this.
I will look up myself. Anyway, continue.
So this area, and here you can see like a center zone that's out and open. Obviously, if it's the same time of year, that might not be the case. But
it's in Brooklyn. Okay.
Several cool things about this, and they still say pending announcement, right? And they said exciting news soon at the end of our last interview. So they actually have it being able to be rented out. And Japan Village Beer Garden. I want to go. That sounds fun.
I know, right?
At some point, I think I did download like a thing with the venue. It's hard because like right now I'm like on this thing. Shops, events, lease.
Oh, it's near the Verrazano Bridge.
So you can lease, but you can also like host events there.
It's off 278. It's near Bay Ridge. These are things that mean things to me. I've driven this before. I had friends who used to live down in Bay Ridge. It's actually not hard to get to by car, unlike most of New York. This is a very easy place to get to by car for New York.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. And next weekend there is the New York City Doll Meet happening. Information on Den of Angels and a few other places. Also, we have our Discord. If you ever want to invite to our Discord, just let me know. I don't know how I feel about just like posting it out for the wild world and every bot to find, but you know, if you reach out to me, I'll give you an invite. If you're that much of an effort of a human, I will reach out to you, and if you're a jerk, I will kick you. That is the nature of a moderator. But it has smaller and bigger spaces, plus it has all the food and stuff incorporated right there. Plus the area that it's in has more hotels, more parking available right near it. All of these things are great, especially if they can break off perhaps where programming is versus where vendor hall is, so that we could have things going into the night. We could potentially, if they so deemed it beneficial, have a dinner, which is very traditional for a lot of doll conventions to have like a dinner together and everything. I don't know what they're going to do with it. And they said they're still pending release, but this is what they talked about. And that's what they've been hinting at. And that's what we know so far. And if you're interested in looking at the place, go look at it. We don't know dates yet. I can't tell you anything else, but they are excited. And this looks to be the direction they're going in if everything's going well. So, and these are the event spaces, which is much, much more room than the previous venue. It also, from all the images I've seen, has a lot of nice natural light like the previous venue, so we'll still get beautiful natural light images of all our dolls. So that is exciting.
I love knowing that they were successful enough that they can now leverage, like, the convention grind is you make money to hopefully be able to buy your venue next time is really what happened.
Which is another little current event thing. If you deign to still exist within the social media space that is Facebook, I highly recommend following this person called Alan Scott Pate. They are a nice expert in the realm of
Oh.
traditional. I don't know if antique. We'll use that word. That's better. Antique Japanese dolls. And if you've never heard or listened to the story about friendship dolls from Japan to the U.S., you're missing out on an awesome piece of cross-cultural history. And one of the dolls was being restored recently, and they provided all these wonderful images, and I took screenshots just quickly because, once again, this ephemeral nature of these social media things, of documentation and things like that, but that's what we have, and I wanted to just briefly touch on this. And they took pictures of how it all came apart.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right? And it's just living on Facebook.
And it's like, what?
This
How
beautiful...
find it? How's anyone going to find this?
Materia. It's just living on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite part is just the artist just chowing down on some awesome chicken sandwich. Because they traveled from Japan to, I think it was, they said like Montana, was it? Because they tend to each get a name. Helena, Montana. So sometimes the dolls themselves got the name of the place they were delivered to. So this one might be called Miss Montana. So very, very cool. 1988.
That is very cool.
Was when she was first sent back to Japan. But that's just for that. And I love 5 days of work to correct the problem areas, get her well situated for the next 100 years. What do you think? How do you think these guys will look in 100 years?
Yellow as fuck.
Probably more brittle too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my action figures fused at the joints. These haven't had that issue that I've seen on the resin dolls. I could see that happening on the vinyl dolls.
Action figures are also often coated in a layer of like a certain type of paint.
Yeah. So it's interesting to think about material science, and I mean, we've already had a lot of our like fabric vinyls like turn to dust. Like, what is the rest of this? What is the history of this?
And like when well taken care of, natural fabrics can last a long time if they're cared for correctly.
Yeah. All right. Ready for
There's
one
something
last...
like specifically in our hobby. There is an ephemerality to all of it that is really interesting.
And it's interesting, especially because at the start of the hobby, I don't think we realized how ephemeral it would be. Because the limiteds got sold and resold for very high prices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, I'm going to buy this limited and it'll appreciate in value.
Not always.
But what happens when you buy that limited and it has pieces that are decaying, plastic decaying, yellow resin, and things like that? Not all dolls that we purchase that are limited dolls appreciate or will appreciate. In fact, at this point, when you're looking at the limiteds being resold in Japan, plus the difference of yen to USD, most of them are going down in value.
Yeah.
Hence why we finally got your Amy Ayase.
I know, she was finally cheap enough. Well, because the newer things are so interesting and engaging, people are moving their collections, I think, is part of what's happening too.
Yeah.
So you only have room for like 3 thing, and you're like, well, I want that third thing more. And like the Amy I received, she had been very gently used. Like she definitely had experience being on display from the wear and tear on her, but like very respectfully on display, as it were. And like her full set outfit is somewhat degraded. Anything part of her full set that is made out of vinyl is, I have it very carefully packed for like keeping it for at least a pattern piece, but it is not in any way usable.
Yeah. If touch or stretch, then dead.
Yeah, which I found out very quickly with the one piece of hers. So I have that when I dress her, I can't really put her in her full set because of those pieces. My plan is I have acquired some fabric that has that like a knit stretch that has similar texture to what the vinyl is doing visually as part of like the design plan of the outfit. And my plan is to basically copy the pieces that are degrading
Nice.
and make patterns from them as like gently as possible and remake them in more with types of materials that have better longevity, just so I can still experience like what her intended full set look is.
That's like that preservation restoration kind of.
Yeah,
It's interesting. That would be a fun episode.
like do you respect the provenance and age of the item and leave some pieces degraded, or do you try to bring back the vision of the original artist though using materials that would not have been used by that artist? Like where like there's a lot in that in like art restoration that gets discussed.
Yeah.
Like what is the goal? It all comes out as like what is the goal of this art piece?
What is your
what is
end
the
use?
nature of what is the end use? What is the nature of preservation? What is the value? Which part of the value of the item are we trying to preserve? The mark of the original artist, the feel like the as complete as it can be without any intervention from other people, just like clean. But if it's degraded, so it's not been interfered with. Are we trying to create bridges visually so we can imagine what it used to look like, even though we are acknowledging it's not that way? Like there's there's a whole science here about it,
Which is all fascinating. But last moment on Volks, we're going to preserve this website in video format because it is going down on the 10th.
No,
It is because
I mean this because then the new websites will come up.
Because this is the limited online USA North America FCS. So if you're interested in one, you got like 2 days if you're within the North America, and if you do a proxy, that's not my business. Because once again, Europe doesn't have availability for FCS to order, and like other areas just don't have an option. So yeah, that's what they have at the moment. It's Japan or North America.
Yeah.
A or B. You can get FCS. And then this is what we got, which is very similar in format to what I was showed off for the SD16 FCS. So this time it's a meaty head lineup. Now, once again, limited FCS, you just get these 5 options. You don't get the full catalog. So every time you have to wait on them to see what they will give you. In the amount of time that I waited to try to get a F26, right? It was discontinued. They did offer it a few times through the online service, but it's not like you can choose when. And you might save up and then it doesn't come back. They did some surveys asking which head sculpts, which people did respond to. But it kind of went down for a long time. And then when it popped back up for the SD16, that was the first time in a long time. Newer head sculpts have the little ledge for the wig. I don't think any of these get that yet. That will be updated in the new website. Hey. And then we do get the full round of the kind of default selections for the makeups. So, girly, boyish, Inui.
Ennui.
Ennui. I will always do that.
It's French. Ennui.
I need to play more Claire Obscure, obviously.
Clearly.
Everybody does. Give them money. Give them money so that they can keep profiting and then hopefully continue to have a wonderful creative environment that's not toxic to create more beautiful video games. Ennui. Animatic, like animated. And dark. The SD16 had the one other one, which was like sultry or something like that. We can check the video at another time to see what it was, but I just did a solo video blabbing on about that before selling 9S and 2B to afford this. Lovely Olivia behind me, who is a topaz. So you get all these. What you don't get is when you choose one of these in Japan, you can change it's either 2 or 3 small things. Like you can say, yes, but I want the lips like this limited. Or yes, but I want dark makeup, but I want the relaxed expression of the eyebrow from Ennui. I'll
Good job.
get it eventually. We now finally, starting with the SD16s in here, now have the option in the US to pick welcoming dresses.
That's right.
Color of Rose is a great one to start on. A beautiful welcoming dress set. For the value that you pay for the set, it's worth it just almost for the shoes. And it's great because it comes with a shoe and outfit, which used to be things that folks did, but don't do so much anymore. But it's a great place to start. So now we can see what it looks like when you click on place order. They create in this folder in their web shop all of these items. So you click on each one individually. And this is really fun actually to catalog on video, because things like the Wayback Machine and things like that will not capture this in this way, the way you highlight this and the image changes, which was one of the reasons I love this 35 and this. I loved kind of the smaller, dreaming sort of eyes that I feel like both Topaz and 26, Olivia and Elizabeth, have that look.
I really like how they've been moving away from like, this is a male dedicated look and this is a female dedicated look in terms of the head sculpts, especially at media, where it's like it's very much flexible.
And it used to be for the online FCS, your options were girly or guy makeup for the online FCS. That was it. Girly or guy. And that was not appealing to me at all. If at the time that the F26 was out and they had all of these, I probably would have worked on saving up for it and purchasing it. She has double jointed elbows. Not my favorite. But it's what's currently available, because you can't get the single jointed elbows anymore. Fun fact. Finally, we get into the order system. You get the option of tan skin. Tan skin is typically only available at, I think, Sato, and Mado, which is nice. You don't have that last ebony option. Ebony option is only available with SD16. I also noted that when they did the FCS for SD16s in Japan, when they had it at Sato, I think they had ebony available, but when they did Mado, it wasn't. I'll double check notes later, but being able to get that ebony skin tone for the SD16 is more limited than I realized as I was doing research for the update to the website. So, bodies, girl, boy. I don't love these new bodies, but it is what it is. Arms. More or less muscly, essentially.
Yeah.
That's about it. If I highlight down here, we can kind of see the image a little better. But that's about it. Hands. Certain ones, whenever you purchase hands, and then they actually are nice and say it right here, they tell you which ones you can purchase separately later, which is nice. So when you do an FCS, aim for the ones that you can't. And buy as many as you can, because you'll never have another chance probably. Unless they start doing FCS online owner appreciation sales again, which they haven't done in years for the USA. Legs. 3 options. Normal. Let me see if I can. Normal. Long. It's not really capturing well here, but. And then Suarico, which has the little L shape here, which allows the hip to swing outwards without having a mobility joint. Most other companies,
and that way they can sit in a very specific way.
Yeah, most other companies have gone to a mobility joint here, but that creates one more seam. Volks has largely kept to the concept of not adding the seam here and keeping with that L shape into the sculpt there. Feet. We still do not have high heel feet for our MSDs from Volks. It's only been 20 years. Tabby, normal, that's it. Makeup and recommended makeup. Recommended makeup is 100, and then you get, here's our 5 options. Ennui. I'll remember it.
You got this!
It's not very... At first I didn't understand what eyelash volume is. I think it's they put 2 on top of each other.
Mm.
You actually get to actively click and pick your eye color now. I don't think that was an option before on the old websites. I can.
Oh yeah, I think it was random.
Yeah, so that's nice. Plus you get to choose the size. 16.
Oh, that's nice.
18 with 9 or 18. So 18 with 9. So a lot of newer dolls have like smaller eye openings. Like she would have a smaller eye opening. If you had the normal iris size, it would just fill the entire eye with color. Instead, that slightly smaller is kind of nicer. Glued, unglued. Eyelid gloss. Lip gloss. Wig. You don't get the full choice of all the wigs like you would in Japan, where you can choose your color and cut. Here, you get to see short, long, light, or dark. So I chose long, light for my SD16, and I ended up with this honey-colored one. It's like I'm still not sure where brown fits on the dark to light spectrum. It's like somewhere in the middle. We finally get, once again with the SD16 here, the option for head parts, which until the SD16, you weren't able to get here in the USA.
Yeah, the ears and stuff was like not part of what they were offering.
What I didn't realize is that these ones, all the animal ones, here you can kind of see it in the texture, they're flocked.
They are flocked.
I kind of hate it.
No. Oh, I don't hate it. I would like to blush the insides, but
that's the thing, and it's hard to redo or recustomize or
flocking. You're right about that.
So
I would prefer a resident doing it yourself.
Yeah. And I could flock it myself. It's not that, I say with hubris. So there's 2 different ears here, just as note. They're smaller and a little larger, basically SD and MSD sized. I got a pair of these hoping to use them for Maya with installing some magnets and stuff. But the flocking kind of negates my ability to easily recolor them without stripping them down. And now I'm like, So you're able to get 2 pairs. The horns are kind of the coolest parts, honestly. A lot of details. I want to get something where I can actually map what is the positive and negative on her head, because everything, by the nature of Volks now and the way they do these, and they sell them aftermarket, they must have a set way that they set the magnets in, which means that if I can create, document, and publish it, custom makers can more easily create and glue in magnets for their custom headpieces. I want to
make sure they're compatible.
Yeah, so you're not reversing polarities, so you have your right ear on your left and your left on your right. And here you go, extra hand options, right? We talked about this. Seitogiri.
Satogairi.
Satogairi, sorry.
This is from Kairi, because Kaeru, but it got turned into ga because it got combined into a bigger word.
This is from
literally return to Sato surfaces.
This is I learned a lot of these words before I studied Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And as I just read the English words, so I'm like, they're built into my vocabulary in the wrong way. seam line removal, seam line removal, seam line removal. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, where is the option parts for the outfit? Let's just try normal, girl, arm, hand. So there you go. Normal, recommended makeup, girly. Extra volume, smaller eyes, probably look nice.
Purple.
Is that purple?
Good enough. Just no choice.
Pretty. This one's like a lilac. Unglued, because screw that. We'll make you pretty and glossy.
Well, we're going super girly, so the gloss should work.
Yeah.
In this hypothetical situation we're working with.
Hair decoration, we'll do horn 1 and kitty ear 2. Option hands, yes. Here. Here. Oh, here it is. Bonk. So you click on that. And that and that. Okay.
I think having them do the seam lines is like kind of nice.
So now we're up to 378 for the extra things. Now I'm curious if I do... No. I'm curious just how much the... just the welcoming outfit is. $80 for the welcoming outfit. Which, you know, $60 for a pair of shoes, right? From Volks USA, usually. Like, we can just very briefly go. That looks familiar. We were just there. Online store. Hello. Here. It's like I've been here a million times. Dolphy. Outfits. Shoes boutique. Like 40, 50, and for this it's 80. And you get an outfit too. And the outfit has a lot of pieces that can come apart and be reused, which is great. So this is what I kind of hoped would happen for online FCS for the US.
They'll like be able to access all of those opportunities that are usually just a Japanese only thing.
I would almost prefer, even if they only did it once or twice a year, if they opened it up to every head sculpt.
God, wouldn't that be great?
I mean, even if it was every head sculpt that was Tenchi no Sumika. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, the only thing missing. Because I acquiesce. I understand customer service between two countries, changing the face up and doing the little nitty gritty things and then having it translated to a different language. Fine. We're not going to get custom face ups. Fine. You gave us a list of 5. That's so much better than just girl or boy. It at least gets you in the right ballpark. When you pay $100 for that face up, it also gives you the eyes. Also great. But when you have sculpts coming and going and being discontinued, if you don't want people going across the sea or using proxies, you have to make them available and available with predictability.
Yes.
If they do that, then I will be 100% satisfied with this, the status of the North American FCS.
Mm-hmm.
I say predictability because in Japan, hey, JS might be J. Louisa? No, somebody. Hello, JS. Oh, also J. Louisa. Wait, I predicted it into being.
You summoned J. Louisa by simply thinking of them.
Maybe that's a different account of theirs.
Yeah. Hello, JS, though. Hello.
Hello, JS and J. Louisa. Unless you are one and the same being. Which, I've done before. I've logged on to NingyoBINGO and then logged on to Tempest Ray. Yeah.
It's a whole... but we're currently talking about the current FCS that's available in the United States and sort of wish lists of what we would like to see there, which is mainly, can we see all the heads, please? Can we have all of them? What if we had all of them?
Exactly. And that's all we need, because it would negate all that proxy nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be, in Japan, you can always walk in.
Yes, J. Louisa.
And order one with an appointment, right? Or sometimes not even not appointment. And then within several months, you bring it back. Oh, are you the one that has the Cloud Strife VJD? That is me. I have him.
Yes.
I have him in a picture over here, actually. Let me boot up the picture.
The one that Becca, who is the not me person, it sounds like you might be familiar with us, but did like the whole face herself, and the body's resin printed. It's pretty cool.
Let's see. Then I go back to window capture. There we go. There's Cloud, hanging out with my Dolphy Dream Choice 30. So yeah, like that is why. So with Japan, you can always go in and get it. I understand that if that was the case for the US, it might be a little crazy. I don't know. I don't know if that's sustainable or okay. So limited order periods, okay. But having the limited order period on top of the limited selection is still going to lead to proxy use. And if you don't want people to use proxies and you want to disallow proxies, allow the full Sumika each time you open it to the thing. And maybe it's 3 times a year, right? Like they do their SD16s once a year. Bye, Kitten Cat Shop, Anakori.
Bye.
You do the SD13s, SDGRs.
Hi, Placebo. Nice to see you.
Oh. I met you at Otakon, saw my Aerith Beach. I have a photo of that somewhere still. Oh my gosh. It was so fun having them together. I want to make an anime head so that they can better jive. I will be at Otakon again. Yeah. So let's see. SD16, there's SD13 SDGR release, and then there's the MSD release. They do those 3 times a year with all of the things. That would be actually equivalent. Limited order period, you get maybe not 10 days. 10 days is so short to order and things, because like it would be nice if they gave.
Well, especially if you don't know what's going to be on option until they do it.
Right.
Right.
But even then, because you're paying the whole quantity up front. Now, granted, in the US we have criticulture, but it would be nice to have like a full cycle of like 20 to 30 days to at least hit 1 or 2 pay periods.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of like, make it I would say 20-day order period. Split them in through the year. Same sections that they have now. Give all the Sumiki availabilities to it. And that would be the perfect US FCS. I understand we can't make it more specific than that. Now, Placido, now that you mentioned the what do you call it? Aerith one. We'll take a look at that for just a second. I think I can pull up images. Let's see. That would have been last year in August. Is August Otakon?
Yes. Otakon's about halfway through August.
I should be able to find this. Or maybe. Maybe. Maybe.
I believe in you.
I went back too many years. This is 2024. I need 20. No, that's right. 2024. August. Oh, it looks like it was just a little. Okay. Yeah, here's all the pictures. I will find it shortly. So we had the really fun doll meet there too, and I tried to take some pictures while we were there. Oh, there we go. Alright, here we go. Big reveal. Oh, window capture. It came as a surprise. We didn't plan it, but we had a custom Aerith and a custom Cloud together at the doll meet last year there.
Oh, that's so cute.
His wig was not good yet. Ran Chi, RAN space CHII, is a cosplay person that I commissioned for the new wig. So this is from last year. So we'll have Otakon. We should have another meetup. I will hopefully have things on the schedule for doll meetups, and oh my god, that picture is so fun. And that was what he has a fully 3D printed body now. That was when he was using the very slight 9S body. So he'll get improvements. But yeah, we had a whole doll meet there, and it was so great. Oh, and that's probably the end of doll meet pictures, because that's just a very aesthetic picture of going down into the subway system. Look at that. That's so cool.
That's such a good shot.
So, NingyoBINGO passed. To summarize the day, we started as a podcast that started hosted in 2015, hosted on Google Drive with a hand-coded RSS feed that was uploaded to iTunes. 2017, hosting there stopped because
we had to improve.
The hot linking no longer worked, similar to days gone by in PhotoBucket and forums, and thereby I needed to buy my own hosting. Once I bought my own hosting for NingyoBINGO, it then opened up the possibility to have a website, and thereby I contacted the original owner of Creating Dreams and everything, inherited all the files, and then rebuilt and relaunched Creating Dreams in 2017. We then started this whole adventure, and we started occasionally doing YouTube videos, but they were usually edited. Can I just do a normal YouTube?
Maybe.
Studio. I think I should be able to look at just very briefly. So, videos 17. Our first stuff on YouTube was really just the panels. We were putting video recordings of the panels on. But our first live broadcast that was more of a web one looks like it might have been the Tiny Fox opening, which was not that long ago.
No.
Most of our stuff before that was like pre-recorded, other than me just doing one oddball Monster High thing. So when was this published? Please tell me. Can I just go to the video? You on YouTube. Alright. So this was, I think, our first stream. And could you please show me? Oh, come on. Streamed. That was just a year ago. So from a year ago until now, it says there is 29 oddball little streams we have done, if this is correct.
Huh.
Did we really? Is this right? I don't know. I mean, because we did like nameless blind through playthrough things, right? Streamed 1 year ago. 31 views. Yeah, I guess we only started video streaming maybe a year ago or things like that. And then we became YouTube. And we want to venture back into just audio because audio is great, but we understand that the nature of this hobby is that we are a physical medium with physical objects, and it does help to have images to talk about our physical objects. But when it comes just down to culture, science, and things like that, audio just works too. Which brings us to today, where what we are doing today is a lot of outreach, updating the website, and bringing dolls in the world, and doing streams to preserve things like this snapshot of time of how the Volk's websites work at the moment for the FCS. Brings us to the future. Updating the website, reviving the audio format of the podcast. Maybe when we do one of these, we can just rip the audio and talk about it. I mean, some things might not translate, but at least it'll be there in audio format. And preserving things as moments in time so that in another 10 years, Lindsay, and maybe another 100, we have 100 followers on YouTube, which is crazy.
That's fun.
That we can look back and go, it's interesting what we were thinking back then.
Wow, remember when the hobby was like that?
Remember when you did vertical scrolling photo stories hosted on PhotoBucket? J. Louisa says, thinking of doing a BJ panel for a con down here, but I would have to pull my other doll friend with me.
Do it.
Let me see. I
That's what I have to say to that, unfortunately, Louisa. It's fun. It's more fun with someone with you to help.
There we go.
I think it's fun. Anyway.
This is what you need to see, J. Louisa window capture. This, if you needed motivation, here it is in GIF format. This is the power of video.
It's the power of video. It's true, but it takes a lot of effort.
So that is it for today's show, Lindsay, unless you had any other thoughts in your brain.
Not really. It's always the thing. Oh, that's right. I was thinking about the raffle that we do, and we had some conversation. We do a raffle every day at the convention for ThyGeekdoms as an outreach thing, because I think there's a lot of reasons why it happens, but it's such a great way to engage the curious and give you something to ask or talk about that you can then leverage into a much bigger and more interesting conversation. That I think that was one of my favorite parts of like ThyGeekdom was, for me, the hobby is really interesting, but it's the community that makes it most interesting. We make things for ourselves, but it's to share. And I think trying to help build community and like help direct people to the existing community, because there isn't like a lot of good hubs for that, is something I think we're doing. I think we can push into a little bit more too.
Yeah, and And speaking of future plans for ThyGeekdom and things we do there is we want to create... There's certain things we can and can't do with that physical space and everything, but something that a lot of people were interested in doing or voting or participating on was a customization doll contest.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that don't want to go to Doll North, because it requires X amount hours of driving from here, the tri-state area, plus, a passport. We're going to figure this out. We're going to have a doll customization contest. We're going to have a panel. We're going to have people judge. We're going to have judge favorites. We're going to have prizes. That's going to be in 1 year.
And we're going to have to announce that ahead of time because of the nature of the
of the event, yes. So just to get in your brain now, in the wonderful words of the Final Fantasy XIV developers, please look forward to it.
I do love how they do that.
So, as you fight off the existential crisis that you just realized that you've created 10 years of content on the internet related to dolls and preserved a lot of history in doing so, and you continually create a budget, not only for your own dolls, but to create and maintain said items and do conventions and the like to continue to do all this. Remember to keep on collecting dolls.
But please keep a budget.
Hey, thank you all for coming today. We're going to wind down.
Louis is also saying more podcast episodes. We got to do this, my guy.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's just us chatting, it's a different format. It feels different when it's podcast. Yeah, for a podcast, it feels like we need to create something formatted, researched, which another thing that's changed in our lives in the last 10 years is I was only in my new job for about a year when I started the podcast, and I was not in a leadership role.
I was about to say, you're important now.
So I've gained a lot of skills. And then you also changed, because like you said, 2015, 2017, you were just coming back from Japan. And so both of our lives were a little different outside of the 9 to 5 is a lot different for us now.
Yes.
And that's kind of been preventing that creation of a curated episode in the same way that this is kind of just an off-the-cuff episode. Curated is a little different in prep work, but we're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right. Thank you all. We're going offline, and then we can do the most amazing thing, which is run to the bathroom because we've been drinking tea for 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah.
More 3.
We're about 3. Bye, everybody. Have a lovely Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
And thank you for coming. Bye.